you keep having doubts that you can manifest what you want? Do you constantly experience resistance when it comes to manifesting your desires? Well, it's time to change that, and in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how. What's up, superheroes? Welcome back to my channel, the place where we make the impossible possible. I'm Scarlet Grace from unsincereof.com. I'm a manifestation coach, and today I'm going to share with you 7 tips to eliminate doubts and resistance so that you can manifest your desires fast. If you're new here and you want to learn how to manifest any desire fast with the law of attraction and Neville Goddard's teachings, then start now by hitting the subscribe button and the bell icon so that you won't miss any video that could change your life. And if you need some extra help or my personal advice for your situation, email coaching is now available. You'll find the links in the description below. So let's begin with the number 1 thing you need to know if you want to eliminate doubts and resistance. Doubt is not your enemy. Yep, you heard that right. Doubt is not your enemy. In fact, it is there to protect you and keep you safe. Here's how it works. Your brain never stops developing and adjusting to different situations. When you go through any negative experience, you experience emotional pain. When this happens, your brain wants to protect you from having to experience something similar ever again. This is not a bad thing. This is a survival mechanism. This is literally how we humans survived for thousands and thousands of years on this planet. When we are children, for example, we do many things that we would never consider doing as adults. If as a child you put your hand on the stove, you get burned. And it hurts. A lot. Your brain then will create new neurons that associate stoves with the pain you experience. And the next time you're close to a stove, those neurons will fire in your brain and you will immediately remember how when you touched it, it hurt horribly, so that you won't get too close to touch it again and have to go through the same horrible experience again. Or if you were a prehistoric human and you saw a lion for the first time and didn't know the danger, then after surviving a lion attack, your brain would develop new neurons that would associate lions with danger. This way, the next time you would encounter a lion, those neurons would fire in your brain and trigger your flight reaction so that you could run away before the lion had a chance to attack you. Now your brain will operate this way whether the negative experience involves physical pain or emotional pain. The problem is that unlike lions or hot stoves, when it comes to many experiences in the modern world, our brain may misinterpret the amount of danger we're in or operate on a neural pattern that is outdated. For example, if when you were a child you couldn't rely on your dad because he was always away working and was never there for you when you needed him, you may have developed beliefs that men cannot be trusted. And unless you consciously intervene and change those beliefs, you may keep operating from the belief that men cannot be trusted, even if you're now a fully grown woman in her 30s or a fully grown man in your 40s. In this case, your brain is operating on an outdated pattern. Every time something small happens that makes you start doubting whether someone is trustworthy, your whole body will go into panic mode. And that's because your brain developed this pattern when you were very little and never adjusted it to the person you developed into growing up. When you are 3 or 5 years old, not being able to trust that the adults in your life will be there to keep you safe is a huge thing. It is literally vital to your survival. You can't fully take care of yourself yet. You rely on other people to make your food, to keep you clean and safe, to take care of you if you get sick, and watch over you to make sure you won't do something that would put your life and well-being in danger. As an adult though, someone being flaky isn't the end of the world. Going on a date with someone, for example, who said they'd call you the next day and never did, isn't in any way threatening your survival. You can just move on from that. No big deal. But your brain doesn't always know that. Instead, It will send triggers to the rest of your body and your organs to produce stress hormones, which will put you in full-blown panic mode, just like it would have done if you were 3 years old and Daddy had forgotten he was supposed to pick you up from school, and all the other children had left, and you were standing there next to the teacher in front of the school, wondering if your parents abandoned you, like Hansel and Gretel's dad did in that fairy tale that your mom read you before bed. And this kind of neurological and hormonal reaction isn't something you can beat through willpower and pushing your way through. Your brain literally goes into survival mode. And our whole system is wired towards survival. Whenever it's a matter of survival, your brain will put your whole body in autopilot mode to get you out of the danger zone as fast as possible. That's why if you accidentally touch a hot stove, your hand gets pulled off the stove immediately. If you had to stop and think, wow, this thing is hot. Hot hurts. Ouch! Better pull my hand back. That would take way too long and your hand would be already in a very bad condition. Instead of that, autopilot mode kicks in and your hand is off the stove automatically. You don't have to decide you want to remove it from the source of pain. Your brain decided that for you and signaled your muscles to move. The problem with this is when it comes to manifesting, we may have such reactions to things that are not actually a threat to our survival. It may be about romantic relationships or money or getting a promotion. It doesn't really matter what it is. If we had a negative experience in the past about that thing we want, and the brain has decided we need to avoid it to stay safe, then the automatic reaction will kick in every time. That could mean acting in a self-sabotaging way, or it may just mean that every time we think about that thing we want to manifest, our brain will hopefully provide us with a list of reasons why this isn't going to happen and why it may not even be in our best interests if it happened anyway. Here's the thing though. As I already said earlier, you can't get out of this kind of automatic reaction by pushing your way through. If the reaction has already been triggered, you can't just jump into an imagining session and expect your brain to play along. It will kick and scream and try even harder to convince you that what you want to manifest means pain, and you'd better drop the subject altogether. You don't want your ex back, it's too painful to think about him. You don't want a promotion, it's too painful to think about all the times you expected one and someone else got it instead. The first thing you need to do when intense doubts get triggered or start creeping in is to relax. Instead of pushing against it, first of all, take a few slow, deep breaths. This will signal your body that you're in no immediate danger. A few deep breaths usually help a lot, but you can take this a step farther by meditating for a few minutes or imagining white light washing over your body and removing all the stress and the anxiety and the negative thoughts. If you want a few easy exercises and meditation instructions that you can use to deal with intense doubts, with anxiety and with panic attacks, I have a package with my favorite, most effective ones called the SOS Emergency Care Kit that you can find on my website. I'll put the link below in the description if you want to check it out. So after you have relaxed a little bit, then it's time to put tip number 2 in motion. The doubts and the stress and the resistance are a reaction. And whenever you react instead of consciously acting, it means that you have forgotten that you are God of your own reality. You're God. Circumstances can't hurt you. Whatever it is that triggered the thoughts that you won't succeed in manifesting what you desire, it can't hurt you and it can't stop you because you're God of this reality. You. Nobody and nothing else. Only you. So the second tip is to focus on that thought for a bit. Remind yourself that you're God of your own reality. It's okay if you can't consciously see how your desire could possibly manifest. You're still God of your reality regardless. You don't have to have everything figured out. In fact, in most cases, you don't need to figure anything out. All you need is to remember that you're God and that you call the shots every single time. The third tip to eliminate doubts which is especially useful when you're having an intense negative reaction, such as anxiety attacks or crying and thinking it's all hopeless, is to gently talk yourself and your body out of it. And I mean literally talk to your body. Remember, this whole negative reaction and intense doubts thing, it's all a mechanism trying to keep you alive. So start by telling your body that it's okay. Thank it for doing such an amazing job keeping you safe and alive. It's okay, body. I know you love me and you want what's best for me. Thank you for doing such an amazing job keeping me alive and safe. I'm really, really grateful for that. But see, there is no need to protect me from this promotion. I know we've been in similar situations before and it hurt, but that was then. This is now. I'm God of my own reality now. I didn't know that back then. That's why we had to go through crappy things that hurt us emotionally. But now that I know I'm God of my reality, bad things don't have to happen because I'm in control. And even if something we don't like happens, we can revise it. Thank you so much for protecting me all those years. You can relax now. It's okay. It's safe. If you do this every time you react negatively to something, and that includes every time your doubts surface, then you will train your brain to have a different reaction to this situation or person or whatever it is you desire, instead of that old, outdated, needlessly intense reaction it had up until now. The fourth tip to eliminate doubt is through your imaginal sessions. But here's the trick. I'm not talking about imaginal sessions focused on manifesting your desire. I'm talking about imaginal sessions to manifest not having doubts. How would you feel if you had no doubt at all that your desire would manifest? How would you feel if you already had a pile of concrete evidence that manifesting works for you and you can get exactly what you want every single time? What thoughts would you be having? What would you be saying to your friends? How would your life be different? Create an imaginal scene where you have already eliminated all doubt and you know with 100% certainty that you can manifest absolutely any desire you have. The best kind of scene for something like that would be a scene where someone else says out loud the kind of change that you want to manifest. For example, in your scene, a friend may be saying, "It is incredible how you always get exactly what you want. And I really admire the fact that you have such unshakable faith that everything will work out in your favor every time, no matter what things look like." And you smile and reply, "Yep, told you, I always get what I want." You can also insert that thing you keep having doubts about in your friend's words in this scene as something that you have already manifested, and even include all the other big things that you want. For example, if you have doubts about ever getting back together with your ex Jennifer, and you also want a promotion and to move into a new house, you can have your friend say, "It's incredible how you always get exactly what you want. In just a few short months, you got back with Jennifer, you got married, you moved into that house that looks exactly like the house on your vision board, you got a promotion, and then you got a raise on top of that. Do you have superpowers or something? And I really admire the fact that you have such unshakable faith that everything will work out in your favor every time, no matter what things look like." Using an imaginal scene like that can do wonders, not just when it comes to removing doubt about this one desire you have. It can completely transform your life and skyrocket your success rate when it comes to manifesting anything. Because the scene isn't just made to eliminate doubts around a specific desire, but all doubts around manifesting too. The fifth tip to eliminate doubt is forgiveness. Your doubt stems from particular events in your past that have taught you that the world works a certain way, or that something is difficult, or that you aren't good enough to have something. So to eliminate doubt, what you need to do is let go of any ties you have to those events from your past that are responsible for you believing now, in the present moment, that you can't manifest this specific desire you have. And one of the best ways to accomplish that is through forgiveness. First, figure out which events from your past are the ones responsible for your current doubts around this specific desire. This is actually easy because your brain is already using those same events to persuade you that this desire is difficult and you can't have it. For example, if your desire is a happy and fulfilling romantic relationship with a specific person and you doubt you could ever manifest that, your brain is already like, dude, are you serious? This ain't happening. Remember how he never replied to your text? And while we're at it, remember how this other person rejected you last month? And what about your college boyfriend who cheated on you? And your high school crush who hooked up with your best friend instead? Face it, you will never manifest your dream relationship with this guy. You're just not good enough for anyone to ever choose you or fall in love with you. It's not happening. Let it go already. Now, annoying and painful as this is, it gives you specific events from your past that are the ones responsible for your current inability to fully believe that you can manifest your desire. The thing is, though, that all these things happened before you knew you were God of your own reality and that everyone is you pushed out. Now that you know that you create everything that happens to you, and that other people are just a reflection of your thoughts and beliefs, you don't have to hold on to the anger, the hate, or the pain anymore. You can forgive those events and the people who hurt you in those events, and also yourself for manifesting these painful experiences when you didn't know any better. So do exactly that. Think of each of these events and people and say to them, I forgive you. This one action can massively transform everything for you overnight, because your brain and your body have been using huge amounts of energy to hold on to those grudges and those painful memories as a way to ensure you do not forget. Because if you forget, then you run the risk of going through the same pain all over again. But when you realize that you're God and that you don't need to hold on to all these memories and all that pain any longer, when you realize that it's safe to let it all go and you truly forgive it all, then all that energy your system had been using to hold on to these things is freed up. And that means you don't have all these memories and pain pushing against you and against your desire. All that energy can now go where you direct it to go, and that's towards the manifestation of your desire, with all parts of your system supporting that and being behind that desire and that manifestation. If you want a more concrete plan on how to forgive people and events from your past and let go of the pain, then check out my program called the Forgiveness Roadmap. In it, you'll learn exactly why it is so important to forgive your past and how to actually do it. Plus, you'll get written step-by-step instructions to a powerful meditation that you can use for stubborn cases when you really struggle to let go of a painful event. I've used the exact process that I walk you through in the Forgiveness Roadmap to completely transform a difficult relationship literally within hours when nothing else had worked. I'll put the link in the description if you want to read that story. Alright, the sixth tip to eliminate doubt is revision. You have found the events responsible for your current doubts and you have forgiven them, but you know what? Things could have happened differently. And now that you have forgiven those people and events, it's much easier to rewrite them and revise them into a version of events that you would actually prefer. So tip number 6 is take each of those events and use the revision technique to change them into what you actually want to have happened back then. If that's the first time you hear about the revision technique, you can check out my video on revision where I explain exactly how it works and how to do it step by step. I'll put the link below in the description and in the card to the right so you can watch it. Tip number 7 to eliminate resistance is this. Don't try to change what is already there. Create what you want from scratch. Let me explain. When you want to manifest something, this means that you either don't have it or you don't like what you currently have. For example, let's say that you want to manifest a specific person, but currently that person is ignoring you or isn't answering your messages or has told you that they don't have feelings for you and that you will never be together. Now what most people do is they will take these facts and think, I can use manifesting techniques to make this person change. And that is what creates a ton of doubts and resistance. Because how many times in your life Have you managed to force someone or something to change that radically? It doesn't work. You cannot force things or people to change. But you know what? That's totally okay. Because manifesting doesn't work by forcing people or situations to change. Manifesting works by allowing you to choose a version of this person or event that already is exactly the way you want it. This version of this person or event that you want, it already exists somewhere. Your imagining sessions or any other manifestation method you use works by aligning you with that specific version of that person or event that is exactly the way you want it. So that this is what you get to experience in your physical reality versus all the other versions that are not exactly what you want. And it has nothing to do with the version that is right in front of you right now. They're totally different and independent things. So don't think of manifesting your desire as trying to force anyone or anything to change, because this is not it at all. Imagine that you take your coffee black, but the waiter made a mistake and they added milk and sugar to your coffee. How do you turn that cup of coffee that has milk and sugar in it into black coffee? How do you remove milk and sugar from coffee? If you're thinking it's extremely difficult or even impossible to do that, then you're right, it is. But this is what most people try to do when manifesting. They take a situation or a person and try to do the equivalent of removing milk and sugar from a cup of coffee. If that's how you approach it mentally, of course it's going to feel difficult or impossible. And of course you're going to have doubts about whether you could ever manifest it. Manifesting isn't removing milk from coffee though. Manifesting is more like realizing that your coffee isn't how you wanted it and getting a fresh cup of delicious black coffee just the way you wanted it all along. This is how you should approach manifesting anything. You aren't changing what already is. You have the right to say, there's been a mistake, and then imagine this person or this situation from scratch. What is wrong with the version in front of you doesn't matter and isn't relevant to what you manifest. Just like what's in this cup of coffee in front of you doesn't matter and isn't relevant to the cup of black coffee you're going to be ordering for yourself. So don't try to manifest by thinking, for example, this person is currently ignoring me and they're cold towards me. How can I change that? Forget how they've been up until now. Forget any history you have with them and create the vision of how you want them to be and act and talk to you from scratch. You want to manifest a specific version of them that isn't in any way influenced by the current version in front of you. It's like ordering a fresh cup of coffee. You can take it however you want, and what's already sitting on the table in front of you doesn't in any way matter or limit you. If you watched this far, then comment down below and let me know how you take your coffee. And if you like this video, then hit the like button, share it so others can find it too, and don't forget to subscribe, because I put out new videos every Sunday to help you manifest an amazing life. Thank you so much for watching.